we have all experienced this, right? You put your head down, you do incredible work, and then you just have to sit there and watch someone with way less experience get the big promotion or land that coveted project. And why does it happen? Honestly, simply because they are louder. It feels incredibly unfair, but as our sources reveal, relying purely on your work to speak for itself is actually a massive misstep in today's professional landscape. This happens because so many of us fall straight into what's known as the quiet achiever trap. A quiet achiever is someone who is ambitious and hardworking, but tends to be a bit on the introverted side. They are usually pretty hesitant to self-promote, and this is heavily influenced by cultural or even familial conditioning that mistakenly teaches us that if we just keep our heads down, recognition will automatically follow. We're taught to check the boxes and just wait for the reward. But listen, the first step to changing this trajectory is not just slapping on a fake smile and pretending to be an extrovert. As leadership expert Linda Rainier points out in our sources, true confidence absolutely cannot be faked. It has to be embodied. You really have to address the inner game first. That means turning inward and looking at those deep-rooted insecurities that are actually holding you back. Because if you don't address why you feel like you don't belong in that meeting in the first place, your voice is always going to come out shaky, no matter how many times you try to fake it till you make it. Now, once that inner foundation is secure, we need to completely rethink how we view communication. Warren Buffett himself points out that public speaking can increase your professional value by over 50%. 50%! We really have to reframe public speaking. It is not some innate genetic talent you were either born with or you just missed out on. It is a highly trainable skill, and it comes with a massive return on investment. So to start building that external mastery, you want to shift your focus entirely to the listener. The crucial move here is trading in those robotic, resume-reading statements for strategic questions. Research out of Harvard actually found that talking about ourselves activates the exact same reward centers in our brains as food and money. It's crazy. So if you want to make someone feel like the most important person in the room, you just flip the script. Instead of saying, here is my 12 years of experience on this topic, try asking them, hey, I've seen a lot of this, but what are you seeing that the rest of us might be missing? You also absolutely must abandon what psychologists call the curse of knowledge. This is what happens when you know a subject so deeply that you literally lose the ability to imagine what it's like to not know it. You end up skipping steps, you bring in super dense data just to prove how smart you are, and you just end up alienating your audience. Instead, you've got to simplify your points based purely on what your audience actually needs to hear. Don't speak to impress them, speak to be understood by them.
Section 1. The Vocal Audit. Controlling the room's emotional temperature.
Your delivery dictates something called emotional contagion. This is where listeners unconsciously mirror your nervous system and your energy. If you walk into a room anxious, they are going to feel anxious. If you walk in grounded and steady, they feel that too. So to control that emotional temperature, you need to conduct a vocal audit on 5 key elements. You've got pitch, which is how high or low your voice is, intensity, which is your volume, rate, meaning your speed, inflections, which are the specific words you choose to emphasize, and finally, the unique quality or texture of your voice.
And hey, this isn't just theory. A 2014 study published in Psychological Science proved that dynamically adjusting these elements completely changes the game. Like, if you drop your pitch to show a bit of gravitas, or speed up slightly to convey excitement, it makes you measurably more persuasive and memorable. And get this, that is true even if the actual words you are saying remain exactly the same as a monotone delivery. Literally, how you say it matters just as much as what you say.
Now, you can train this through deliberate practice, which is a concept championed by psychologist Anders Ericsson. The method is super simple, though maybe a little daunting at first. You record yourself giving a presentation. Then, you watch it back. Yes, I know it's uncomfortable, but you have to audit where you tend to rush or where your energy completely drops. Then, you just choose one single, small vocal adjustment to make for your very next meeting, like, say, deliberately speaking slower. You repeat this consistently, and the compounding results will entirely elevate your executive presence.
And hey, in addition to dialing in your vocal tone, you have to embrace silence. As humans, we usually hate silence, right? We want to fill it up with filler words like and But research from the University of Michigan shows that deliberate pausing actually makes speakers appear way more confident, authoritative, and credible. A pause acts as this powerful attentional cue that primes the listener's brain. It basically signals, hey, I am not in a rush, and what I'm about to say next is highly important.
Section 2. Achieving top-of-mind status. The antidote to being overlooked. Think about this painful story from our sources.
a highly qualified journalist actually missed out on a total dream assignment to fly with the Air Force Thunderbirds. Why? Because she asked once, assumed that was enough, and didn't want to bother her boss again. So a louder colleague swooped in and got the job. This perfectly illustrates what organizational psychologist Adam Grant emphasizes. Visibility is not vanity, it's a strategy. Consistently sharing your ideas and advocating for what you want is not showing off. It is absolutely critical. Because if they don't remember what you want, they literally cannot give it to you. And there is a real scientific reason why asking just once is almost never enough. Cognitive psychology tells us that a person generally needs to hear a piece of information 5 to 7 times before it actually resonates and sticks in their memory. Yes, that includes your very busy boss.
Therefore, securing that all-important top-of-mind status means you have to follow up. You have to communicate your goals repeatedly. Maybe it's a quick email one day, a brief mention in a meeting the next week, or just a casual hallway conversation. You are not being a burden here, you are simply playing to how human memory actually functions. You are ensuring people remember exactly who you are and what you stand for, which is pretty much the ultimate antidote to being overlooked.
Section 3. Speak in stories. Activating the listener's brain.
Okay, finally, when you actually have their attention, you have to make sure your message is memorable. And that means abandoning dry, boring corporate speak, words like synergy or bandwidth. Jargon only activates the language processing, strictly informational centers of the brain. Sensory storytelling, on the other hand, actually lights up multiple different regions of the listener's brain all at once.
In fact, fMRI scans show that when you speak in stories, your audience actually experiences the information right alongside you. They aren't just processing raw data. They are vividly living the narrative in their own minds. So by framing your insights as a story, bringing in real characters, clear conflict, and actual stakes, you become incredibly influential and completely impossible to ignore. Ultimately, your transition from a quiet achiever to an absolutely indispensable leader really comes down to this beautiful quote from Maya Angelou. She said, "People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel." You've got the tools now, from mastering your inner confidence and conducting a real vocal audit to ensuring you strategically remain top of mind. So, I'll leave you with this. Starting today, what is the one small adjustment you are going to make to ensure you are never overlooked again?